Start. Okay, let's start the recording. So welcome everybody. Hope you're all doing fine. So here's Crypto Rosenberg, or Rosenberg Crypto, however you want to call me. That's fine. From the team of PnL Scanner. So today is another day of trading, of information sharing, seeing how we can spot that super gem, multiple access, or just like yesterday, if we finish the day off with a little bit of lost when you trade, because those days happen as well, right? You don't always get all the every day whereas a nice day. Actually, the whole crypto market yesterday was a little bit red. So, funny enough that my trading was in red as well. And by the way, the last coin that I actually was trading in yesterday before I stopped, well, right after I stopped, the live stream, I actually saw that, that chart was pumping a little bit. So I did get some of my money back, but definitely not back at the 11 so where I was. But today is a new day, new day of trading. So, it's always nice to be doing this. And yeah, got a new webcam as well, got some lights. Trying to perfectionize this whole thing. So let's get started. Something that I first want to mention as well, and first of all, the PnL Scanner team. We have a great team, right? I mean, we're a couple of people here that are working on this project, and our developer Sean, he's just amazing. So what Sean does, obviously, is that he watches my live stream, and what he's focusing on is to see, is the user experience of the website and the flow and the way that I'm trading, is that optimized, optimal for traders. And every time that I'm doing this exercise, then we see like, hey, maybe we can optimize this, or maybe we can optimize that to make it quicker, to make it smoother, to have the information there exactly at the second that you want it. So he's constantly making updates, and he has made some updates even yesterday after the live stream. So let me show you that what he actually did. So now when you click on one of the core monitors, thing like here, right? You have a couple of things here. You can click on one of them, and then what you see here is that he's added some things here, but this is just the copy contract. But let me see if I can get another one, because some of them, yeah. So here's an interesting one as well. What he did as well is he added the link directly to Twitter. So when I click on that, then I go immediately to that Twitter account, and then I can see like, okay, who is that that guy that created this, right? What is the Twitter link that that they put in when they created the coin? So that's very nice. And I'm also trying to find one, if I'm lucky. Let me have a quick look here and a quick look there. Yeah, here you have a good example. Now this thing is amazing. So you guys see here, this thing here. So this is an indication, and that's great information, right? That this creator and this Twitter account actually got renamed. So this Twitter account got renamed 4 times. And that's a strong indicator, right? It doesn't mean to be 100% sure that it is, but let's say 95% of the time it is, that if somebody constantly changes his Twitter name account, that means that he's probably creating a token and then rugging it, and then creating another name with his Twitter account, and then creating another token and rugging it. So this is a strong indicator, that I'm like, yeah, that's not one that I want to do, because sometimes I do trade in this, especially in the beginning, right? It can still pump, but you can be pretty much sure that eventually, this is a bad sign. I don't want to have creators that have created multiple X accounts. What I do like is, X accounts that are, old, like, a couple of months old or years old. That's a strong indicator of, yeah, that's a legit project. But then again, 95% of the tokens that are created, many of them don't make it, right? So 95% of the tokens that you see, very often, it gets rocked anyway, or it goes down, and then it's gone, which is a shame, but hey, that's just the way it is, right? So let me have another look here, and what I want to do today, first, because the first 10 to 15 minutes I'm always trying to show you guys some things of the website, right? And I think that, like I said yesterday as well, is that you have, the call monitor, which is, all the calls, and here underneath you have all the buys of the calls. You have the name of the person, who's the caller. You have the name of the contract. You have the name of the token. You have a lot of things, and also here you have the price indication, the market cap. You can also here filter on those indicators, which is really great as well. If you want to look at that, you can look at the age. You can do really quite a lot of things on the core monitor. On the alpha monitor, you can basically do that as well. So here you can look at the recent alpha activity. Underneath you have a little bit longer. That's a whole list. But I do like the way that this is presented and the way that this works. And if you hit on the dashboard, then you have the website where you can basically look at Twitter alerts, you can look at community alerts, creator alerts, alpha pulse alerts. You can use advanced filters as well, which I talked about yesterday. So maybe I'll talk about it in a couple of next streams again. Filter on holders, market cap, age, and all of that. We also have a giveaway, right? So here when you click on that, then you can go to Gleam. So we do also do some giveaways. If you want to enter that, that would be great. Something that will have you earn some PnLs, right? So make sure that you check that out as well. And when you look at here the top wallets, like I said yesterday, right, we are tracking 10,000 of the top wallets, and the top wallets leaderboard, here's where you find all those addresses, and there are like 10,000 in them. So that's like amazing, that's really amazing. And some of these top wallets, like you see, right, I mean, they're super rich. I'm not even sure why these people are still trading in crypto, right? I mean, sometimes you just need to say like, hey, enough is enough. Let's enjoy the beach, let's enjoy a cocktail, enjoy life. But hey, people do what they want to do in their life. Actually, if it was me, that's what I would be doing, right? I would definitely not be trading on crypto if I had that amount of cash. For me, that's just a dream for now. But hey, we are always allowed to dream. So what I'll do today is talk about trading, because I like to trade. Been in crypto for quite a long time, and I do trade on a lot of things. When I do these live streams, sometimes I do less investigation because it's a live stream. Maybe I should go a little bit more in the investigation style as well, to show you really what I do. But when I do, I guess you can say that trading, you can put some different levels in that, right? You can do quick trading, where you go into the what's the new coin, pick it up, try to trade, get a quick turnaround, quick win, quick access. That's one way of trading. Another way of trading is saying like, okay, this coin has been there for maybe an hour, maybe two, maybe five, maybe a day. So let's see if I can scoop it up as slow as possible, and maybe I'll hold it for a day or two, right? So that's a mid long term trade, I guess. And then you have the long trades, right? So funny enough, I'm actually in a coin since the last bull run. I've been holding that coin for about 4 years now, and even after 4 years, that team just keeps on building as well. It's a really great coin as well. And if you want to know exactly which coins those are, or which are my long term plays, drop me a message, drop me a note, and then I'll see if I can share that with you as well. Happy to share, happy to be as transparent as I can be, right? But then you also have obviously the traditional altcoins, like Sui, like Render or Sol, or whatever your game is, man. I mean, the last bull run, it was a lot easier to find some nice altcoins. This bull run, there are so many coins being created and so many projects, which is good, right? Means that crypto is getting into the main public. But at the same time, it's also a shame, because that means that all the money that's going into crypto is dispersed, right? It's in so many different projects, and a lot less concentrated as it was in the past, or But that's fine as well. I mean, I think that eventually, if everything is built around tokens and deflationary projects, decentralized, I mean, you know, that would be great. But everybody has his own game, everybody has his own play. If you're new to this, if you're new to crypto, then, you know, just be careful, right? Play with the money that you're able to lose, because, you know, crypto is it's a madhouse. You know, you can lose a lot of money in that. You know, I know people that lost a lot of cash. Me myself, right? When I started crypto, you know, I lost a lot of money as well. You know, and eventually I needed to get my act together, start learning about it, start to understand how the industry works and how the project works, and also how real news and real activity impacts, you know, the crypto market. In the beginning, when you just start, you just don't know why. Hey, why is this pumping? Why is this dropping? You know, it's a really weird thing. But when you are really into the crypto, then you need to stay aware of, you know, what's happening in the world as well, because it does impact, you know, the whole crypto industry. So yeah, enough of that. Let me see if I can, you know, do some trading here. I'll try to give some indicators and try to give some pointers out, what I do like to buy, what I don't like to buy. You know, I've been following obviously Cupsy. You know, Cupsy is also an interesting trader. But even though, you know, I like Cupsy, you know, he also apes in a lot of projects. But at the same time, I have my doubts on all these callers. I mean, you know, and I'm not saying that Clubsy is like that or Cupsy. You know, I'm just saying that, you know, everybody wants to earn a buck, right? So some of these callers, and I know that, right? Some of these callers, what they do is that they would buy with another address, so you do not know it's you know, that caller, and then he buys with his caller address, so that he pumps the chart, and then he sells it with his initial address that is unknown to anybody. So it's a very interesting thing to see, right? How people are actually manipulating some of these charts. But that's something that you have to deal with. So, you know, let's start. This time I'm gonna go here. So you know, here you have all the new ones. So let's start with the core monitor thing, and here you have Gen. So what is this about? So this coin just started, like you know, what is it, a minute ago, and the first thing here is you know, it's pumping like a little bit. So something that is interesting as well is that if I go to you know, Dex Screener, for example, and show you how normally I would do that, then okay, here you go. So you can go into this you know, into the address, in this contract address, go to that thing, and we're probably going to add that later on in PnL Scanner as well, because it is interesting information, but takes a little bit of more development there. So then what you do then here is that if you look at these callers here, right, then I copy the address of one of these callers. And what I do then is that here you have maker, and I'll click on maker and I put it in there. And when I apply, it's basically showing me here, when did this guy buy, right? So now you can see that he made 2 buys, and he bought here and he bought here. Okay, so he didn't buy exactly in the beginning, he bought a little bit later. So let's look at the other one. So when you copy this one here and you do the same thing, then this guy, he actually bought 3 times and he hasn't sold yet, right? So that's interesting, because, you know, these callers, they're buying here, but they're believing in this coin a lot more because they haven't sold off yet. So I'm just gonna keep tracking this one here and wait if there is a dump. So now at the moment it's at 46k, which is a nice market cap. Here you can see that, you know, in my wallet I still have my 10 Sol, so I reset it so I can play around with that. And if you would like to, you know, learn about trading, then go to the PnL Scanner website, do the same thing that I do, and you'll see that you'll have access to this as well. So you can have here on the right, you can have PnL Sol, and you'll get 10 PnL Sols or Sols, you know, from PnL Scanner, which is basically, you know, like dummy money, right? So you can start learning how to trade with that. When you feel comfortable trading, then you can, you know, use your own Phantom wallet, or, you know, your Telegram bot, you know, to buy and do some real trading. But if you are new to trading, then you can just play around with this, you know, and I really suggest that you do that, because it helps you understand, you know, how this market works. So for the moment, these guys, you know, they're still in here. Let me see if he sold. So he bought actually additionally here, which is interesting. So let me have a look here. What does he have here? The trending score is 1, right? So what we do now here as well is that we're adding trending score if it's positive. So when you have 3 of them, then that's a really nice trending score, right? So let me have a look at his Twitter account. So now what I'm doing is that I'm doing a little bit more investigation before I trade, so that you guys see that how I normally do that. Okay, so this account has been actually deleted, which is a bad indicator by itself, right? So still doesn't mean that, you know, it's a bad coin to trade. It just means that, like, hey, you know, that's one indicator you should be taking care about, you know, because watch out for that one, right? But at the moment, you know, it's still going up, and I'm still waiting for it to drop, or I'll just move on to the next one. I can also look here down, you know, to look at the buys and the sells. So there are 51 buys, there are 49 sells, which is, you know, a good percentage of, you know, buys and sells. But I'm not buying until this thing drops, because the golden rule, right, in trading, even though sometimes you do make exceptions, is that you only buy in the red, right? You want to buy in the red and sell in the green. So when you see so much green, don't let your emotions, you know, take the best of you. Sometimes you do make an exception because you're like, okay, you know, a lot of hype on this coin, you know, everybody wants this coin. And when you're early, even if it's green, then you should still buy it, because otherwise you'll miss, you know, the big pump. But, you know, it doesn't happen a lot, you know, it happens rarely. And before doing so, you need to investigate about, you know, what is the hype about? You know, that can be because, you know, Trump or Grok or Elon Musk, you know, Elon Musk, you know, something is happening there, so yeah, then it's going to be pumping, you know. But in general, wait until it's red. It's a patience game, you know. Don't buy in the green. What goes up comes down, and what goes down, if it's a good coin, usually goes up, and that's what you want to do when you're trading. So at the moment, this one still doesn't have, you know, a big drop, and as you can see, you know, the callers in here, they're still in here as well. So let me see if this guy sold already. Up, okay. Clear that. Put that here. So what did he do? So he made his first sell here, right? So he went in here and he sold here, and there he's made his second sell. So now, and he also made a buy. Up. When did he do that exactly? So he sold, he bought back, and then he sold again. Okay, so that's interesting strategy, right? But let's just have a look here. Okay, so you can see, you know, that by using this type of information, you know, it's basically like, you know, when do you buy, right? And even though when it pumps now, you know, and I could have bought it, you know, like here, I don't care, right? I mean, there are other coins, there are millions of coins that I can trade with. So if I miss this one, yeah, that's just too bad. You know, I could have missed a trade from 40 maybe to 60, which would have been great. But this is crypto, so, you know, I stick to my rules. It's not about emotional play, right? It's about, you know, making the wise decision. And you might have, you know, missed this one, but if you would have gone in it in a green, you know, in a green flag, and it drops, believe me, you know, it's more of the times that it drops than that it pumps, right? So so that is why, you know, you really need to make sure that, you know, try to buy low. And even if it pumps, you know, it doesn't matter. I'm still waiting for it to drop. And if it doesn't, then I'll just go on to the next. Sometimes what I do is that, you know, I do keep a track on this. So I'm like, okay, so if this one is a good coin, maybe over time, you know, maybe if I go in it in the drop, I'll wait for it maybe an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you know, maybe it's going to be a better coin. But, you know, you just need to wait for it. You know, it's a patience game. And it will drop eventually, because nothing goes up indefinitely, right? And that is why, you know, it's important to have patience. And sometimes when it drops as well, you know, you need to you may think like, okay, this is a dip, you know, let me buy there. But you still need to watch out, because sometimes it's not just a dip. Sometimes it just means that the project's done and that it keeps dropping. And then when you that means that eventually you need to look at market caps. Like if this would drop, for example, to 50k market cap, right? So it will go back to here. Then I can say like, okay, that's a nice dip, and I can make the decision to put a trade, because maybe after my research I believe that this is a real dip. But if I have doubts, then even if it goes back to 50, I will not go for it, right? Then I really want it to go back a lot lower, something like 30k or something like that. It really needs to go a lot lower. So now you can see that the people have made their precisions here. Somebody sold there. Here it goes a bit up, and now it's going horizontal, which means basically, right, that in the normal organic chart, when it goes a little bit organic like this, now it's pumping still a little bit more, so it's not anymore that there's still more buy pressure than sell pressure, let's say that. So then it goes to here, but eventually the sell pressure becomes higher. Sell pressure meaning that people are getting so much profit that they're starting to sell versus the people that would like to enter, right? So yeah, I mean, then you just need to wait for that as well. So this one went from here, from 40k to 60, which is pretty nice, right? It's actually funny that it started at 35k, but that also means that up when you look at this thing here. Okay, so this could be an interesting coin, but let's go to another one. I don't want to wait for that. I want to give you guys some juicy trades. Okay, inside the board as well. Eventually when you trade with PnL Scanner a lot, and you look at the names, and let me go back here. When you look at the names, here's Batman, Otta, Kev, Insider. You start to recognize the good callers versus the less good callers. So Insider, I've seen him already do some great some great trades. So here Chloe, she sold off. What did she sell off? So let's have a look at that. Okay, that's actually up. That's the same one. This guy is still holding. It's great. I love it when people are convinced on that. DOG. So this one is a new coin. Let's have a look. Okay. Funny enough, they all have the same type of thing, because this is DOG, this is Hinora. It's really interesting. So, can I spot a nice trade? Today, I see that people are interested in in doing some good trades here. This one here has a huge percentage. Let's see about this one here as well. What is this about? Okay, so this one started like what is it? Maybe what time is it now? 1851. So this one started a minute ago, and it pumped from here all the way to here, which is just crazy. This is just a crazy coin. When you see coins like that, be very careful, because a big pump like that, that's just not normal. If you look at that, it's probably as well. When you look at tokens like this that has this big pump, then sometimes what you see is that the graph, it's not pumping further, but it does this. It stays here, it goes here, it goes here, it goes here, it goes here. It goes very steadily. When you see a chart like that, don't buy that, because they're just waiting to drop it all the way. I've seen so many coins that do this, where it just goes to the right like that, and then boom, yeah, there you got it. Just drops it, boom, you see, and it's gone. That's life, guys. Exactly what I said. It pumped like hell, went to the right, and boom, dropped. And if you would have aped that, then your money would be gone right now. Everything would be gone. So watch out for coins that has a big pump like that. Stay away from them. That's definitely not a good thing. Okay, Cat GPT. That's a funny name. The Cat GPT. Okay, so you see here, for example, this coin just started. It pumped by the creator, right? And then you have a bot, and it sold immediately on him. Now it doesn't mean that it's a bad coin, it just meant that, you know, this one just got dumped immediately. Now if you look at, you know, here, it also had Twitter renamed 3 times, which is a bad sign, right? So this one, cross it up, that's dead. So chat GPT or cat GPT, you're done with. Here is dude. Let's check dude. Dude market cap is 9 million. This is okay, 9 million. Let's have a look at that. Dude, what you up to, dude? Yeah, well, the dude was not so good because, you know, the dude just rocked that whole thing. You got out of that as well. 22,000 market cap. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, so this one, you know, did a little stairway up, and then it's basically now either making a, you know, a scoop, and then it will continue. But I think, you know, personally, that it will go back to here, you know, because people here, they need to get their profit. And if this is a great coin, then yeah, it can probably go back up. But normally, organically, this chart will be like this. It will have a little bit drop here and it will go up, right? It will do like that. But what this one did is that it went up, and now it's going sideways. And when the scoop is there, and the scoop is not heavy, right? It's a little scoop like that, a little U-turn. But, you know, the U-turn is not like that. The U-turn is really horizontal. So instead of it going up, very often, you know, it will continue to go down. And sometimes it can continue to go down, you know, until 18K or something like that. Even when you think that, you know, okay, now it becomes a little bit green, can also be because, you know, some people like, okay, they're waiting for a nice dip and then they go up. But I always wait for these things because, you know, these people, they haven't really sold a lot yet. So there's still a lot of selling pressure here created by these buyers. So then I'm waiting. If there would be a heavier drop, maybe to you know, 17, I would like it. You know, I would say like, okay, you know, that's worth making a trade. But you know, if the risk is too high, then I'll just wait it out. And you know, it's just not a good indicator when you see this thing here. It's starting to go green and then red and green and then red. So very often, what happens in the background is that people are buying it, but then very often the bots, you know, they're selling against what people are buying. And that is creating this horizontal line. So it is actually eliminating, you know, the buying pressure of people buying and then a bot selling against what, you know, they're buying, which is basically called a farm, right? A honeypot or a farm, whatever you want to call it. But that is what basically is what's happening. And then very often you see this chart like that. You see an horizontal up and down. So don't want to do that as well. Freak. I'm a freak, baby. What do you got? Freak has been there for a little bit. So here, so now it's going down. Yeah, okay. So this one you need to wait as well. This is not a good trade. Okay, Hidnora. You see that there are so many coins being created every second, you know, and what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to find a coin that has, you know, a nice start, and that will be a good trade. Now, even though this is, you know, the PnL Soul money, if you know, if you're trading with your money, then you need to watch out, right? You want to, you know, look at coins, and then when you see one, then you can stick with that coin to see if you can make a couple of trades. But if you don't see one, just go to the next, you know. Just check out all these coins, and you can do this like the whole day, you know. So here's a new coin, and actually here you have one guy that made this. So here you can see again that he had 4 times his Twitter account renamed. Now just for purpose of showing you guys, if I would, you know, check this, if I would check this coin, right, nothing coin, well, you know, getting nothing from me. And then I would check, you know, this guy here, who is basically the top trader, Alpha Call, right? And I would check his wallet on this chart. Then what you'll see very often, So you see that he's probably the one that made this pump. You see, that's this guy. So this whole chart, is basically this guy here. Okay. Now he's waiting. He's waiting for people like me and you, to also enter it so that he can drop on that. But when you can look at, the cells, right? You have 6 cells, you have 15 buys. There is no volume on this, and you have, Trojan as well. You have a fresh wallet. You have so all these things are indicators that this is not a good one. If people would, consider this a good one, then there would be a lot more activity, right? So the volume is almost done. So this one here, that is like, yeah, you can forget about that. Like, even though people are buying it, I don't trust this guy. So I get out. Speed of light. Let's have a look at speed of light. The speed of light, what are you doing? So here, it went up, and then it went down, then it went up and down, up and down, up, down, up. Now it's down, and it's going back to 14K. Now, I have a golden rule that if it drops, below 10K, then usually it's dead, right? And the thing that I don't like about this coin is that you see there's a pump here, and then somebody dropped it all the way here. And every time it pumps, you see a big sell-off, right? So all these people are buying, big sell-off, people buying, and then sell-off, sell-off, sell-off. So that also means that, some of these traders, they are basically waiting for these pumps, and then they're just selling their whole bags, right? And now you can see that it keeps dumping like that. If you look at, the sells and the buys, so you have 48 buys and 52 sells, so you have a little bit more sell pressure on this one. These guys, if I would try to, investigate a little bit more, then I'm interested to see if, if those guys, if those are the ones that are selling it or not. So because it is low, right? So that means that there is a possibility that it can make a good reversal. But this guy here, you see, so he bought here in the dip, then he sold here, and then he sold here as well. Okay, and he's still, holding some of the he's still holding some of it as well. And this guy here, if you copy that one, up, clear, maker. What he did is he bought here and he sold, but he sold and lost, right? So he bought because he thought like maybe it's going to go up, and then he sold and lost, right? So the question now is like, is this a coin that can make a reversal? And because, let me have a look at their X as well. Because maybe their X account can tell me a little bit more about these people. Finance at the speed of light. Yeah, okay. So that whole coin is just made, on one post of some guy, right? Of the post of Toli. And, you see a lot of creators do that as well. So now it's hitting the 12K mark, which is a very low one. If it would be an interesting coin, it would have made that U-turn already. So a lot of traders are skipping this one as well. You always try to find the the vibe and the flow of where the traders are, right? And then join that so that you can also make your trades in. But if the volume is not there and if the activity is not there, then there's no much juice to do that, right? Because otherwise you're the only one trading in that. So here there are some callers as well. They didn't ape that much, right? So the volume is actually, what they bought, right? So they bought 200, he bought 200, he bought 100, he just sold. And, they're not that much in profit. This guy just bought, so he bought here. So this one can be an interesting one, but I want it to drop a little bit then, right? Because you see the way that the charts goes, it goes up and then it goes horizontal and then it goes up. So if this one goes up a lot now, like 125K, then it can be an interesting coin. And I see that traders are still in there, you know, they're still, and they're aping pretty big, right? They're aping like 364, 210, 275. So they're still aping quite a lot. So he made 60 bucks, he made 30 bucks, he made 16 bucks. So let me see if I can enter in this one as well. But I do want it to drop a little bit more. That would be nice. That would be nice as well. The market cap is 110 at the moment. So yeah. Let's see how it goes. When you look at the buys and sells, 53, 47, so you have a little bit more sells than buys. It's still not going really fast, right? There's not a lot of volume being created with so many buys and sells from callers. It doesn't mean, you know, that here, you know, that it's all the buys and all the sells, right? It's the buys and the sells from the callers and the alphas. So that is why it's always, you know, between 50 or 30 or something like that. Okay. So if this is a nice one, then I would like to have it in a first dip, and then I'll probably make my first trade. So I'm just waiting this out. Let me have a check here. So no action. It's like it's in stalemate. So this is going to decide to go up or down. This guy's holding it, he's holding it, he's holding it, and he's holding it. So yeah, you know, they're still holding that, right? So now it's like, okay, who has the most patience between the traders? Like, you know, at what point in time they're gonna sell? You know, he could sell because if you analyze, you know, the callers and the alphas, and you look at their average holding time, right? Then very often, you know, the average holding time of callers and alphas that are traders, the average time is like, you know, it's really not a lot. And I think I need to go here because it looks like this one has graduated. Let me have a look here. So why is it not moving anymore? So okay, yeah, that's what they did. So you see this thing here, this pair has very little liquidity, so watch out for this. So let me show you that. You see this? They just removed all liquidity, right? And that is something that you see a lot lately. These ruggers, right, instead of selling off, they're removing the entire liquidity. So there was liquidity in here, and now the liquidity is $1 or less than $1, which means that all these guys that, you know, were in 200, 347, 359, you know, all of them, they just lost their money because they cannot sell anymore. You know, the liquidity is $1. Now there is a way, you know, and that's something I haven't spoken about yet. There is a way to avoid that, because, you know, in the contract, when you look at you know, the contract here, in the contract, you know, when there is not a bag, a moon, a pump, a Jupiter in it, then very often I don't want to ape that, because I see more and more rugs happening on the liquidity. And then, you know, it pumps, and then they remove the liquidity, and then it's done, right? It actually happened to me just once. You know, and that was somewhere in the beginning when this trend was happening. You know, I was putting a trade, and suddenly, boom, they took out all the liquidity, and I couldn't sell anymore. And I'm like, yeah, you know, that's that's a big loss. So let me investigate, you know, why that's happening. So I started investigating on this, and actually you see that happening a lot more. And very often, you know, then you look at, you know, the pump, or, you know, the launch pads, right? Where has this been launched? So okay, that's why there's no more activity, you know. Guys just lost their money. Too bad, guys. Better luck next time. So up here you go with that. So here is another trade, and this one, what's it going to do? Okay, I like the way that this goes, you know, and then if it doesn't rug immediately, like now it's at 15k, yeah, so I'll buy one soul here. So why? You know, because I think that you know, if you look at this token, it went up, so that's very often a creator, but it wasn't, you know, immediately rugged, and then it pumped a little bit, but it stayed here. It didn't immediately get rugged, right? So that is why, you know, I like these type of coins, because very often it needs to go up a little bit, and then I can make my quick trade. So at the moment I'm at 1.25 SOL, and I put 1 SOL in right now at 1.5. So I'll sell everything, you know, and then you just made 0.5 SOL, just like that, you know, because as soon as I find the coin, you know, then I'm like, okay, this is interesting, you know, then let me do that. But I'm still doubting because I haven't done my investigation. But I still made a quick, you know, turnaround, a quick trade. Now I'm gonna observe it and I'll see what it does. If it is, you know, a nice coin, then maybe it will start continue to pump. There was a big sell-off here, but people are also aping in quite a lot. 265, 17 is not that much, but this guy made a lot of profit. He made, you know, he bought in the beginning, he probably sold here, and then he made profit 60.47, which is a nice one. So here some other callers are picking up on it as well. They're checking it out. I already made my 0.5, but I will probably try to make another trade. But let's see, you know, at what moment in time, because I think that here, you know, you have the indicator that it has been, his Twitter account has been renamed 3 times, so I'm definitely sure that eventually this will go down, you know, but that doesn't matter, right? If you can pick it up in the beginning as soon as possible, you can still make a good trade, like I just did, you know, put in 1, get out 0.5. So now that I look at this a little bit more, you can also see that here it has trending score of 2. Okay, if I check the Twitter account, then what does it say here? So sometimes these things goes to the community. Dog spelled backwards is God, our savior on heaven. Okay, so that is this guy, just a quality dev. Okay, so there is a website, but it probably will go to Twitter as well, to X. Yeah, that's very often what they do. See, so now I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I can still pick up a trade. I already got 0.5 SOL. It's still at very low market cap. You know, if it would be a good, you know, if it would have been a good token, it would have continued up, right? But now that it goes down, went from 33 to 17, then I'm like, yeah, you know, I could try another trade, but I have a lot more doubts now than I had in the beginning when I just started with this coin. I saw the opportunity here, because I know very often when this happens, then there is a little pump. And then I just, you know, there's no time to investigate. I just ape it, hope for the best, and then when I see this, get out. And then I'll do my investigation. And when I do my investigation, I'm like, yeah, you know, I really don't like what I'm seeing. If it hits under the 10K here, then it's dead anyway. So then, yeah. Thank you so much. You know, Doug spelled backwards is God. Well, thank you so much, because you just gave me 0.5 SOL. Cupsy bought something. What do you buy, Cupsy? So, let's have a look at this one here. Up. Well, it also already done as well, right? Interesting enough, you know, I've seen that these alphas and these callers as well, you know, it's like myself, right? They don't always make, you know, good trades. You know, they also lose money, but they're taking a lot of risk as well. So when you look at, you know, the risk percentage, if you would make, let's say, 100 trades in total, and if you would lose, you would put like, you know, let's say 0.1 SOL in 100 tokens, then you would put in total, you would have, you know, invested 10 SOL. Let's say that half of that, you know, is getting rugged, right? So you lost 5 SOL. But let's say that 25% of that, you know, went times 2. So then, you know, you have 7.5 SOL. And then 25% that's left, you know, went times 3, times 4, times 5. In the end, you know, they are left with, instead of 10 SOL, they are left with 30 SOL. Why? Because they are aping so many projects and taking so many risks, right? Like Cupsy, for example, if he's not convinced in a project, his standard amount of SOL is 0.2. He, in a lot of coins, he just put 0.2, and those are the coins where he's gambling with. That could go multiple X's or could get rugged, but he is fine with the 0.2, compared to his entire wallet. And sometimes when he sees that it's a really nice project after doing some research, then he would ape, 2 sol or 3 sol, right? And that is where, he has a little bit more confidence. So, that's the mentality of traders. You can trade in a lot of projects with like 0.2, 0.2 and all of that. Maybe half of them, maybe 80% of them gets rugged. But if the 20% that's left does multiple X's, you easily have, gotten back the money that you did lose, and even got more access on the sol, and in total of 20% that you got left. So it's a numbers game. So I see that as well, right? It's interesting as well to observe how other traders are doing that. Chan Pepe, what are you doing, Chan Pepe? So this coin just started. He had his first pump. This guy put in 40 bucks, 59, it's like 16k. So now I'm waiting for the first little drop, if it's gonna come, because there is some traction here. I like it that the first pump was not a lot, the second pump was. Very often in the next minute, it will go down a little bit, unless it's a real good token. But let's see if I can scoop it up, around 15k or 16. So I'm just waiting this out. I got my 1 sol here. They still didn't sell. 121, he bought 121, 41, and then normally here you will have your first red zone, unless it doesn't want to do that, but very often it does. Okay, let's have a look at that. Sometimes it's like, you have a magic crystal ball in front of you and hoping that you can see and predict the future. So what you're doing is sticking around with 17k. So 17k market cap, 51.49 buys. There is just the Twitter account. Let me have a look while he's doing his thing. OpenSea. So yeah, let's have a look at that. OpenSea sending this meme. A normie just asked about the Cute Purple Ghost app on your phone. That's 29th of July. Sending this meme. Crypto. Okay. OpenSea. So yeah, they made a token out of this one, and then still not picking up a lot. I would still like to see a little drop, because like I said before, I don't. If it was already doing a drop here, I would probably aped it. But because it continued to go up, I still need to wait till it goes up a lot, or scoop it up here. But at the moment the trending is very slowly. It's going slowly up. There are not yet big players coming in. Like here, somebody else picked it up. So this one picked it up as well. Put in 20 bucks, so that's like 0.15. So okay, 19k. Come on, guys, when you gonna sell? So here we go. It is still doing its thing. I'm gonna have a look at this thing here as well at the same time. Let me have a look at crypto, and let me have a look here. What are you guys doing here? So as you can see, it's up. Okay. So this guy bought in the beginning, then he bought here, he sold, he bought. So he's making some nice trades. His PnL is that he still holds So he bought 159 in total. He sold 72. He still has 96. So, you know, he's not making that much money, but he's still doing some nice trades. Let me get this one out here as well. Yeah. The only thing I don't like is that it doesn't follow an organic pattern. You know, that thing should have already been picked up by other callers, or it should have already been dropped. So this is this really looks like a manipulating chart. So I'm gonna get out of this one, and I don't like that one. So what do you have here for me? You see, same type of chart. It's very funny as well. Sell, dude. Yeah, guess you should have sold, because that thing just got rugged. So he sold 10 bucks, you know. Pickle. You can see that, you know, you can trade on so many coins. And it's funny that they all have today, you know, the same type of trend. Girlfriend AI. Ah, okay. So, girlfriend AI. Too bad I didn't see that one earlier. 250. He really aped a lot. 523. Yeah, he aped a lot. 22k. You know, if it would have been great if I would have picked that one up here. But let me go here, and then I'll buy it now. So let's see, right? I mean, as long as this guy doesn't sell, you know, I can make a nice trade on this one as well. But then, you know, I think that he just sold as well, right? Because I saw it jump away. So you see, I should have waited for this guy to sell, which was an error, right? So I just made an error. But let's see if it's still gonna go pick up. And normally, you know, when this happens, then my stop loss would have been hit, you know, because I do work with stop loss, and then I'll take back 50%. So now, you know, the only thing that I can look at now, because I entered with one soul, and then I saw immediately that it dropped to 0.5. So I knew that, you know, this guy with the 400 something that he sold off. Now this guy is selling off as well, and then you still have this guy here. He's selling off as well. So I'm still at 0.69. Sometimes what I do is that, you know, I'll ape more in it so I can, you know, cut my losses, or you know, I just hit my stop loss and then I just lost 0.5, right? So this one here, if you look at it, the question now is like, will it go back? And I don't think it will. I think this one is done. So let me have a check here. 0%. Okay, get out of here. So I'm back at 10 sol. So you see my error there, right, is that I actually bought something that I shouldn't be doing before that guy with 500 bucks sold, right? But the PnL Scanner gives you that really good information, where you can see that some of these coins that just started, that these alphas and the callers, you know, they've aped quite a lot and they're in a lot of profit, which means that if you ape too early, like I just did, right, then, and they sell after you, then, you know, you're done, right? You just entered with a soul and you just lost a half soul. And that is why, you know, first training yourself on this is very important. And even, you know, everybody makes mistakes, right? Nobody's perfect. And, you know, if we were, then we would all be very rich. But, you know, sometimes it's also like, okay, I think it's a good moment. The risk I took is hoping that this guy will not sell on me before, you know, before I could sell. So, and because I saw that there was a little dip, I still took the risk to enter with a soul. But then he sold immediately after that, right? And then I lost my half soul. If he wouldn't have sold and it would have stayed for a little bit longer, right? Then I could have picked up a nice trade. But hey, I didn't. Can win all of them, right? So let's continue. Study conviction. He sold everything. So this is probably some kind of a rug as well, or not. So this guy has $400 in there, which is the same story as just, you know, like I just said, right? But when you look at the trend. It's still a nice trend, but let's wait it out this time. You know, let's see if this guy will sell first. He made 446 profit. So he just put 200 bucks in there, which is nice. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna buy one soul right here. So let's see if I made the same mistake, right? And if this time, you know, as long as this guy, yeah. So he just sold as well, right? Okay. Now let's see if it goes back up. You know, sometimes they say like, you know, only a stupid guy makes the same mistake, right? Well, you know, I've been stupid so many times in my life, you know, it doesn't matter. But hey, you know, that is what I like about trading, right? Especially in the trenches, when you trade in the beginning of, you know, of the token. It's so risky, you know. Sometimes you can have a day, you know, where you go like, wow, you know, today I made 10, 15, 20, so wow, you know, that's amazing. And then the next day you're like, wow, you know, I just lost 10, so, you know, but that's just how it is, right? I mean, that sometimes you have a good day, sometimes you have many good days, sometimes you have a really bad day, and sometimes, you know, you just lose a lot. But hey, doesn't matter, right? So as you can see, it still went back up. So I do have my soul back, you know. So that's an interesting thing as well. So I'm gonna sell here, and then see if I can scoop it up a little bit later. Because here is a trend line here, so I can probably, you know, maybe I can. That's one is there. Okay. So you see that because it's on 11k, right? In this range of trading, it's really heavy, you know, because from 20k to 10k, that's like 50%, you know, and that's very dangerous, you know. So this time I was lucky. You know, I entered again, made the same mistake twice, waited till it, you know, could I get my soul back? I did, and then it dropped, you know, under the 10k, which basically very often means that it's dead. So then I'm gone. But hey, got my money back. CO Squisher. Let's look at that one. This one has a trending score of 3. Okay. Here is his X account. Up, started at 1907. Okay, so that's great. And then here, let me have a look, because that thing is here. So when you have a chart like that, you can also start to, you know, look at some of these lines. Like, is it gonna break, you know, the resistance here? And if it does, then maybe it can be a good buy. I'm at 1 minute. This guy made, you know, put in 54 bucks, 10 bucks. Yeah, okay. So it does look like he's breaking the resistance. So I'm buying one soul here, right? So now I put in one soul, and it broke this resistance. So now it's going back in the uptrend, right? Which is what we want to see. And let's see how far, you know, he will push it. Zero 3 up in USD. You can see that there's a lot more activity as long as, you know, as soon as they break the you know, resistance line here as well. So let's see, you know, if this one wants to do a nice one or not. So now what you can do as well, right, is that here you have oops, let me go here, let me go there. So here, and normally it's there. So here you have a little support line. You know, the more times it hits, you know, one of these points, the stronger it is, right? So now you can see as well that it is actually moving like that. So what you have here is a very little, you know, line here. So now what he does is that he's in this area now here. So he can go back to this line here and then go back up, or he's just gonna go in this trend here, right? But for the moment, you know, it's okay. You know, let's just see what this thing is doing. I do like a chart like that, you know, because the people that bought here, you know, some of them sold here, right? Which is fine. They broke the resistance, so it's doing its natural thing, right? Then it's going into this triangle here. So now it's, you know, up here. It's probably gonna hit this thing back, you know, this support line right here. And if it drops below that, you know, yeah, then it's back in the downtrend. But if it's not, then it can still go up here, which is a very interesting, you know, pattern, you know. And also you can see that, you know, the volume and the activity on it is pretty well, right? So pretty interesting. I'm still at the same place as where I was. You know, my 1 sol is still 1.01 sol. So I'm just waiting that out, see what happens. If it would drop back to here, to the support line, I might decide to add another sol. But for the moment, because I'm still at the average, I'm just waiting for it to see, like, is it gonna pump back higher here? So let's have a, you know, let's take a second to look at this. So yeah, what you doing, man? So you can see that with PnL Scanner, right? I try to find all these gems and looking at graphics and doing my investigation, my research, and all of that, just so that I can, you know, find coins that I'm like, okay, this is an interesting one, and then I'll stick with it a little bit and spend some more time on it. You know, and that is basically, you know, what you're trying to do. So this one is following, you know, a nice trend right here, right? Eventually, the sky is open here to do that. And if it drops back to this support line, I'll add another sol. So I can take this one out. Okay, I'll take that one out. You can see that there's a lot of sells and buys. So the buys and sells, you know, they are very much, you know, fighting against each other. So the question now is, right, is it going to break this line here? You know, because now it's hitting this support line. Now the question is this going to break it, or is it going to continue to go up like that and bounce from it? And here, so he did bounce from it a little bit. As long as it's bouncing, then it's fine. You know, organic charts, you know, eventually they will have to go here, right? Unless this people try to, you know, decide to rug you, you know, it will not. It will drop. But eventually, when you look at a chart like this, then eventually it has no choice than to go there, right? That's an organic movement. And the whole, you know, it's open here, right? There is no resistance on this as well, so it can go pretty high. Unless he did what I think he did. Yeah. So let me have a look at here. I think that he just liquidated it. Did he liquidate it? Let me have a look. Yeah. So you see this, guys? This guy just removed, you know, the liquidity. That's why it stopped suddenly. You know, so again, you know, ruggers taking out the liquidity, which is really a bummer. A good thing, right, is that PnL Sol, and that is why, you know, using PnL Scanner and, you know, the PnL Sol to trade is helping you, you know, to learn about this. And here I can still sell it because, you know, it's not real Sol, right? So I still have my 10. But if this would be my real money, then I could just not sell it anymore, and I would just be in a loss, because once again, they sold all the liquidity, right? So like I said before, look at the contract, because on the launchpad, PUMPFUN or Moon or BAX, when you Jupiter, those are the coins that they cannot just remove that liquidity themselves, right? But you see this a lot more. This are really, I guess I would prefer the old school way of rugging, where somebody just rugs, right? I could live with that, but taking out the liquidity is a painful one. It's really painful. It's like you're like waiting there, trying to trade, trying to do the make some bucks out of it, and suddenly, poof, they take out all the liquidity, and you're stuck. And that's the painful thing, because you still have all your tokens, but you cannot sell them because they're worth like $1. And that's a really painful rug, So if you're listening to me, guys, ruggers, stop doing that. That's a painful one. Just sell everything, sell your bag, but keep the contract open. Let people CTO it, or let them play with it, or let them build it, but don't take out all the liquidity, man. That's just mean. But hey, you probably have a laugh about that, but that's a meaningful rug, guys. Okay, so I'm still at 10.1 Zol. I'm gonna see if I can find the last trade on this one here and end my day in a more positive note. Let me speed things up now. So, okay, this one, not interested. Let me have a look here. 19 seconds, pickle, Chen Pepe. This one, yeah, that's the same chart almost. That's just crazy. So, Chen Pepe, Yuki, what did you buy, Yuki? Yeah, that's amazing that all these charts look alike. Pickle super token. Let me check this one here. Okay, so this one just started. Wow, that is doing some crazy things here as well, going up and down like that. That's a crazy thing. Okay, super token. Why are you bouncing like that? When I see coins having so much activity and bouncing like that, I'm very interested as well. Want to know what that's about. Super token. Okay, so that's why they made that thing. Let's see. 95k, yeah. 96. They just this one just feels off. I don't know why. This one just feels off. Uncle Bayo. 38. This guy is putting 400 and 123. Make the first drop then. No, he didn't. Yeah, he needs to sell this one off. Is he gonna sell it off? 42, 40. Some other people are joining in. So these buys, right? 245 and 400. So he sold it. Okay. So the 400 is gone, which is good. This one is still here. So he probably bought it at the beginning, and now he took his profit, right? When you look at bubble maps, those are the big bubbles, right? If you see somebody like that. So he just added another buy, So he's still buying. He just sold some. See the trades 3 and 4, right? But I still think that, you know, this one should be selling before I buy. So yeah, let's have a look. Yep. Bao Bao. Actually, I've seen his name so many times in new coins. You know. Crypto. Okay, let's get a new one. Okay, so let's forget about that one. The Mother of God. It's funny how they, you know, create all these narratives. Wow, 1,200, 386, 618. That's some big players in here. That's some big players. Buy one's own. So normally I don't, you know, like I said before, I don't really trade, you know, in green uptrends. But when you see these big buys in the beginning from, you know, these callers, it can be an interesting one, right? It can be interesting because maybe, you know, sometimes every day actually you have what is called the runner, right? The runner of the day. And the runner of the day can really go like, you know, to 1 million, 5 million, 10 million market cap. And if you are lucky enough to identify it, you know, in the beginning and, you know, buy, you know, below 50K, then yeah, you know, those are wonderful trades. You know, you can get 50x and things like that. And that's really, really great. So let's see, you know, if this is one of those coins, right? And at the end of my streaming, I always try to do a little bit more risks because I like to end in profit, you know, for the live stream. Not like yesterday, even though after the live stream, you know, it was still getting back a little bit. But I do like to get back in profit. So that's why I always do a little bit more crazy things, you know, at the end. You know, looks better, right? Looks better on my resume, saying like, hey, you know, I ended the day in +1 soul or +2 soul, you know. That's a lot better marketing than, you know, it's like, yeah, damn, man, lost again, you know. But it's too bad that you guys, you know, I don't stream the whole day, right? I mean, and even when I play this and I do this for you guys, then, you know, it's like more about teaching you guys or trying to share my experience and things like that. You know, I more do it for that than if I, you know, really trade with my real wallets and real cash. You know, I take a lot less risk as well, right? Because you know, it's your money that you're talking about. You also have, you know, the stop losses in place. You have to take profits in place. So there's a lot more going about it as well. And yeah, we're probably also going to add, you know, the stop loss feature and the take profit feature here in this PnL scanner. You know, we are looking into that as well, so that when you're playing around, then I can really set the configuration like my, you know, normal buy bot configuration, which would be, you know, what a lot nicer for you guys to show, because then it just everything just goes automatically, right? And that's always very nice, you know, to show you guys that. So yeah, you know, that's let's see. Let's see how I can do that. But it's a nice, you know, I mean, PnL Scanner, it's really a game changer, you know, and it's not only because I'm part of the team, you know, actually in the beginning I was an investor in PnL Scanner, but I know the team and, you know, from the beginning as well, because I've seen other projects from them. And I think that, you know, I've always thought that it's a great team, you know, very transparent. And then I, you know, try to help them with PnL Scanner, give my information about, you know, my sharing my experience on the trading and what functionalities I would like to see as a trader. And eventually I just became part of the team, right? And you know, I have to say that it's amazing to work with these people. You know, they understand what you know, what is important, and that's great. And also I like to be part, you know, being in crypto for a long time, I like to be part of projects that have a future, right? I mean, I do not want to invest money in a project now and then you know, later on, you know, in like a month, they're gone. You know, that's not what I want. You know, I want projects that develop, that stay there, that, you know, keep the hype. And for those type of projects, you know, I love to help them, you know, because I think that that's what this industry needs, right? We need to have more projects that people can build on and that are trustworthy, you know, because a lot of people are, you know, like you and me, right? I mean, we're not rich, not super rich at least, and you know, we want to maybe have one day the dream of financial independence. So yeah, I mean, you know, that's just you know, what we all dream about. But because of all the bad apples in the industry, like the ruggers and, you know, the fake projects and projects dying on us and all of that, it just destroys the whole system for everybody, right? So when I do see a project like PnL Scanner, then I'm like, yeah, you know, these guys, you know, I would love to work with them. So, you know, became part of the team, and now I'm doing live streams for them, giving them also, you know, my feedback, trying to help out. But yeah, it's a great team and it's a great project. And what they've built is actually amazing. Like, I used to trade, right, with all this information on different parts. I used to, you know, I use Dex Screener, Dex tools, then I use, you know, PUMPFUN data, then I use, you know, Telegram bots, you know, all these tools that I had everywhere, you know, on different places. PnL Scanner puts all of that in the same place. And when you have everything at the same place, then, you know, as you can see, I can make quick, you know, clicks and decisions, and I can look at data very quickly. And then it helps me, you know, make decisions quickly as well, because when you're trading, you know, in the 10k, 20k, 30k, then it's really important to be quick. And you know, the quicker you are, you know, then yeah, then the quicker you can buy and the quicker you can get out as well. You know, so that's very important. You know, the speed of things is very important. So the quicker you get access to information, the quicker you can buy and sell. And having all of this in the same place, yeah, that's just amazing. So we'll keep on building on this, right, for the user experience. If on your side, right, you see that uh, you are a trader and you think like, hey, you know, this is missing, or this is something that you guys should think about, you know, just contact us. Go to our X account, go to our Telegram group, you know, join us, you know, on the socials, and talk about it, right? We are creating this for traders, so we need feedback. Not just my feedback, we need everybody's feedback. Like, how can we make this the best tool for traders? Like, what do you need? What do you see? What do you want? Right? And if you can help us with that, you know, it everything will be a better place for you, for us, for all the good traders out there, right? So with that, you know, I just want to say thank you again. I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time, and you know, let me sell this trade here. If I can get the last little pump, it would be great. So you know, then I can end this day with, let's say, set it right. Let me set it right here. Okay, so I ended my day with 11.8 SOL. I started with 10 SOL. I just made 1.87 SOL. Isn't that a great day to, you know, great way to finish it, to finish this live stream? So thank you for everybody for listening. I hope you learned a little bit about it. You know, we at the PnL Scanner team, we wish you the best evening wherever you are, wherever you sit. Keep trading, stay safe, and you know, see you tomorrow. Okay, guys. Bye bye.